Hey, what's going on, dev people? So this is part 3 in how to build a blog with Gatsby and Tailwind. In the last video, we did a couple of things. We added our content and our blogs, our actual blogs. We added some content inside of them that's just fake content for now. We've adjusted our Gatsby config, and in our index page, our home page, we made a query to get all of our blog posts that are inside of the blog folder, the blog directory, inside of content, and we're able to see those on the main index page, which I will do right now. If we do, let me clear the screen first, and I say npm Gatsby develop. And let's pull up. Too many things open. Close that. Give me this. Put it here. Bring this back. Alright, here we go. Now we're in the money. Bring this over. Localhost 8000. Oh yeah. Alright, so this is our home page, and these are our blogs. So what I'd like to do in this video, a couple of small things. We might actually pretty much get a chunk of it done, but let's get started. So the image one here, we're not going to use this import in the index file, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Save. The next thing I would like to do is this layout.css file. You can go ahead and right click, delete that. We're not using it anymore. This header component, I just want to right click, rename, and give it a capital H. It's just proper convention. I'm going to do the same thing with layout. You don't have to do this by any means. It's one of those things like what's comfortable, what you like is what you should do. But when I learned, the convention was for components to have an uppercase, a Pascal case syntax. So let's just make sure anything that we're using, which would be index, has the layout coming from capital layout. This should be from capital S SEO. And then if we go to layout, we want to bring in /capital H header. And it auto refreshes. Let's open our dev tools just to have them open. Always good to have your dev tools open. And it looks like everything is still working. I don't see any errors. So let's move on to the next thing here. The image component here. We're not going to use this one specifically. What I like to do actually is keep this as just an example, so you can come in here and see how they're using this. Or if you want to use this as an image, by all means you can use this component. We're not gonna well, we might actually use it in the bio component, but that'll be probably the next video. So for now, we're just going to close it. We're going to ignore it and leave it there. We are going to go into the layout.js inside of components. And we're going to first remove any of the inline styles we see, because we're going to use Tailwind to style it. So we'll get rid of that. This footer, you can leave it here if you'd like. There's nothing wrong with it. It's built with Gatsby, get full year, you can style it. So we'll just leave it there for now. So we also want to take this, if you look right now, you can see it says My Gatsby Blog. This is your choice. You can leave this as the title of the site, or you could make it your name. If you wanted to make it your name instead, I would say you come into this static query, GraphQL, where it says title, just add author. And you could add one, you could add both, honestly, but the header is expecting, if you click on something here and you drag it out, you're going to put it in a separate window. The header is expecting a site title, so we'll pass in author, and you can see it'll change to the author now instead. So that's totally up to you. I'm going to leave it as the title. And from there, Let me just double check. That's good. Header's okay. We actually want to go into the header file now, and we want to remove any of the inline styles. This is just kind of removing all the inline styles from all the different components, and so this way we can just style them on our own. I think if you go into index, there's nothing here. We put a couple of base Tailwind styles just to be able to see this kind of separated. So it looks like everything's out now. Let's go into our layout component. And nope, I apologize, not the layout component. Let's go into our header component. That's where we want to go. And we'll style the header now. So right now you can see there's not really anything here going on. It's just the title. We took out all the inline styles, and now we're going to use Tailwind to style it. So let's start. Let's give it with Tailwind. Everything is a class name. It's kind of that I'm using air quotes because I don't know if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it's like an atomic style. It's utility first CSS. So everything kind of has a class. You want to use margin, you could say M-4 and it'll have margin, or MB for bottom, MT for top, text color blue, or text blue, sorry, or background blue, which is BG. Everything has a utility for it. The docs, I'll leave a link in the description. I'll actually open the docs just in case we need them, and then you'll be able to see. So documentation, everything is here. It's really cool. We'll say if I want to do Flexbox, these are the classes I would use to be able to obtain this functionality. So I like it. I think it's pretty cool for layouts and moving quick. Once you learn it, you can sort of put things in there pretty quickly. So let's give it a height. We'll do H16. Let's give it a background of blue. Oh, you know what? Probably should have told you this is really cool. That drop down that you just saw. Hold on 1 second. This drop down here. This is an extension. It's called somewhere in here. Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. This is the one right here. You can see it on the screen. Really cool. It's awesome when you don't want to have to go look at the docs all the time and say I want to know what color that is or which blues I can grab. They're all going to show up in my IntelliSense here, and they're also going to have a little palette next to it to show the colors. So let's do BG blue 600 and let's say text white. Let's see what that gets us. Okay, not bad. The next thing I think we want to do, there's going to be this div with the title here, and then I think we should also put a little button over here that says blog to direct back to all the posts in case someone doesn't think, oh hey, I can click on this to go back. You never know. So let's actually just put that list in first. It's going to be a UL, and we'll say class name equals, we want the text to be large for this, and we'll say font thin. And inside of here, we want one list item, and we're going to use link from Gatsby, and it's going to go to / because that is where all the blog posts are on the home page, and it'll just say blog. Let's see what we get. Alright, cool. So there it is. It's not sitting right. We need to push it over to the sides. So let's go to our wrapping div. Oh, look at this. Staring me right in the face. Didn't even look at it. Alright, let's go to this div here and say class name. This is the wrapper. We're going to do flex. We'll do justify between. Just put things at both ends. We want to center them vertically, so item center. We want to do padding on both sides. Well, let's do margin to MX8, so we'll do margin on the x-axis, both sides. We want it to be width full, and I don't know if we need the height full. Let's see. Oh yes, we do. We're going to need the height full because we gave the header, the entire header, a height. So make this the same height. Let's see what we get. Alright, it looks like it's pushed off the screen here. Let's see what's going on. I think it's because yes, because I meant to put padding there. Sorry. So right here we have MX8. You want to change that to PX8. You want the padding left and right. So this way it pushes it off the edge of the screen. It doesn't sit all the way at the edge. And if we make it smaller, it's good. If we make it bigger, I think it goes too far. So let's also give it a max width. We'll say max W, and you can do it by screen sizes that they have preset. So let's say extra large. And that's going to make it a certain width, which means it's going to be all the way to the left now if you go too big. Yep, because we need to give it a, we'll put it back here next to the padding. We'll say MX auto, so margin x-axis auto. And it'll sit right here. It won't ever get any bigger than that. And I think that looks okay. It's not awful. I think we should line our content up also with this. So let's really quick go to, do I want to make this, I think this should be a little bit bigger right here. Let's go to the H1 and say class name, and let's do text 2XL font semi-bold, and we'll change it to Rubik because we put that in there. Because what we did in the, you see how it actually, the IntelliSense picks up on this font Rubik? That is because we went here in the Tailwind config and we added Rubik and Roboto. So it's picking up on this when it picks up that on the IntelliSense, and that's what we're using as font Rubik. Let's see what that looks like. Much better. Alright, cool. And this is bolder. And then this is just there as in, hey, you know, I'm here. If for some reason you don't realize, you click on this, they'll see the word blog. It doesn't need to draw a lot of attention, honestly. Alright, cool. I think that's good for our little navbar header there. We only have the one page for the blog. So let's go to the trying to think how I want to do this next. Let's go ahead and actually move the list and the list item into separate components, right? So, because that's what React is, right? With separate components, all this logic can be put into separate files, and it doesn't all have to be here. And then the page query can just be fed down into the components. So let's go into components, and let's go to, let's right click, new file, and let's say posts list.js, and we want to import React from React. You know what? Yes, import React from React, sorry. And let's say const posts list is a function. Let's just return for now. Actually, here's what we're going to do. This is the post list. Let's just take the entire list. Let's cut it out. Paste it into the post list.js. If I save, Prettier will handle all the configuration. Now this is going to expect posts, right? So let's add a prop. We'll destructure it and call it posts. And let's also add the prop type for it before we forget. Import. If you also go to your extensions and you download, let me find it. This ES7 React Redux GraphQL React Native snippets. You get really cool snippets. So I could do IMPT tab and I get prop types. Okay, so let's add our prop types. Let's do this before we forget first. Export default posts list. Alright, and then down here we'll say posts list dot prop types equals object. Let's say posts and PTAR. This is another cool thing about that extension. You don't have to type this every time. You say PT and whatever you want. So PTS is a string. PTA would be an array not required. If you tag on the R, it'll tag on the is required. So really cool. And this is just going to take in posts. So let's back up. Let's see, get rid of data there. Let's save this. So let me move this back over. Apologies. Let's go back into index. And right here, let's say import posts list from / components posts list. And right here we want posts list, and posts are equal to data.posts because that's where the posts are coming from. We could get complex and destructure posts off of here, which really it's not complex because that's all we're actually showing, but you're only using it once. So why add the extra code? Just put data.posts here. In my opinion, do as you would please, whatever you think looks better. So let's make sure that's working. Gatsby refreshes its own, but for the sake of it, I'll refresh the page. Still seeing everything the same, so it's working. Let's go back to components. I want to move this into its own component. So let's go right click on components, new file, posts, list, item.js. Alright, and with that snippet that I showed you, the ES6 React snippets, if you do RAFCE tab, it'll give you it'll export default a functional component. Really nice. So let's take the div out. And this thing about this kind of stuff is you want to use these little small insignificant tricks that help your dev time. You write components over and over and over. Just write type out the 5 letters, hit tab, there you go. You know. So let's grab this li from the posts list.js. Let's cut it out. Go to posts list item, paste it in, and what are we expecting here? Right? Let's import our prop types. IMPT. And what are we expecting? We're expecting a title. We're expecting, here's the title, a date, and a description. But if we look, that all comes from the front matter, right? So let's go here and let's say front matter. Let's add our prop type. Posts list item dot prop types. Oops. It doesn't autofill that one right. It gives it the uppercase one, so just watch out for that. Front matter is an object, so PTO. We won't make this required. Okay, and then from front matter we can destructure title, date, and description. Okay, save that. Take that out because that was an accident. Didn't mean to put that in there. And right here, we can take this. We can actually, okay, so because we're only going to return one thing, let me just put it in this way first. Let's get rid of this. And let's say return, import posts list item from / post list item. And let's return that posts list item where front matter is equal to node dot front matter. Okay. Prettier is going to automatically clean up these braces because there's only one thing being returned. They're not needed. The parentheses. And then let's just make sure that works first. Everything's still working the same. Refresh just for the sake of it. Boom, boom. Everything works. Oop, don't do that. And because we're only returning this one JSX element here, this one component, we can actually take that component, we'll cut it out, come down here to this curly brace, delete the opening and closing one, and then paste the component back in here. And this time it'll wrap it because the reason that it's wrapping it in these parentheses is because this is actually being returned. And it's not because it's returning a group of elements. It's just it's saying, hey, return this single element, because there's no curly braces or anything. Okay, let's make sure that works. Let's refresh. It still works. All right. So we move those into separate components. The video is starting to get a little bit long, so I'm going to stop it here. In the next video, I just want to do a little bit of styling, get things looking just a little bit nicer, move these into the middle, add some images, and we'll build out a bio component, so that way we can have a bio on every page, as well as set up the Gatsby node.js file to programmatically create pages for us for every blog post in the blog directory. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.